I do videos on a lot of topics, and in all honesty, I never thought I'd be doing a video on this. Something so obvious, but it just shows the division in society where some people are grown up and some people are still childlike, and they feel they deserve protecting when they cause absolute chaos in the world. So, you find out of an awful lot of criminals, people that cause instability in the world, they hide behind the idea, the notion that you should mind your own business. You shouldn't get involved. This isn't, don't, snitches get stitches and all this shit. And it's just, that's because they live a criminal lifestyle. So I see things as like black and white. You see things, something's this side, something's that side. So good and bad. I'm on the side of good. I don't respect or appreciate anything bad. So why the hell would I protect someone who's bad, destroying the community, destroying the world? Makes no sense to me. Again, I talk about it quite a lot. When you think about the world you want to be a part of, we think of a utopia, somewhere that's happy, somewhere that's peaceful, somewhere where we're all thriving, we're all happy, we're doing things we enjoy, there's community, people accept each other. That's a world we should all strive for. And if you don't want a world like that, then you have to look at your own life and think, why are you so fucked up? Why do you find so much joy in misery? You have to ask yourself that question and figure it out, because you've clearly got issues. So where do you spend your life in such a negative, toxic pattern? Expecting others to be accommodating to that and just supporting it is absolutely naive and ridiculous. So the idea that if someone sees someone creating a crime, someone's causing misery and suffering to someone else, either physically or emotionally, and you turn a blind eye to that, that's ridiculous. And the idea that the people think you should just accept it's crazy. I see so many videos where there's a police chase and people are cheering on the person driving off. I hope they get away. Why would you support the person getting away when you don't know the crime they've committed? Let's say they've just murdered an entire family and now they're getting chased by the police and you're cheering them on that's great. How is that person a hero? Innocent people's lives have been destroyed. And the real problem I see in the world, seriously, is the lack of empathy people have. Everything is almost like a video game to some people. It doesn't matter. It's not my life, so I don't care. And that's what a lot of people live by. So they see everything as collateral damage and almost like a game until they're the ones that are hurt themselves. And then they would be upset and expect the world to care. But the reality is, if you don't care, what makes you think other people are going to care when it's your time? Because if that's the world we're building, and that's the one we're part of, no one gives a shit about each other. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is for the majority, isn't it? So why would we endorse that? How is that something that's sustainable over long periods? How is that something we want to build towards? So how can we change it? How can we change the system so people actually, community comes together, people appreciate each other, they show respect, common decency. You don't have to keep looking over your shoulder and worrying about things. Well, the only way to do that is to shine a light on the corruptions, the negativity, and the crime. So if the police are investigating something and you know something and you can just help them with their leads and things, and you're pointing them in the right direction, how is that considered a bad thing? It's considered a bad thing by the network of bad people. But if you think about it from a positive place, we're getting more bad people off the streets. Let's have a community where people are thriving. So if we glamorize crime, then all we're doing is endorsing the criminal activity and then telling the next generation, the youth, that this is an acceptable way to live. But if they see the consequences and they see community coming out together and saying, I'm not putting up with this in my neighborhood, as soon as someone does something antisocial, the whole community come together and say, no, not in our area, they'd soon stop it. But a lot of time they create fear. So by creating fear, it keeps everybody subdued. It keeps people away. So no one says anything. Because even these 2 or 3 people, however many it is, or it's network, they create that instability and fear, and it causes the masses just to say, it's not my problem, I'm not dealing with this. But it's a bit like if you had people coming up and rising up against the governments, when the government suppress the people, and then the whole people come out en masse and say, I'm not putting up with this anymore. It's the same sort of thing. People en masse are incredibly powerful. So even if you had a couple of violent people in your neighborhood or people that just do crime, if the whole neighborhood just come together and say, I'm not putting up with this in these streets, and they come out every day or every time then people are causing havoc, then people can't attack that many people. If people come together, it changes the world. So, like I say, the idea that you say grass isn't snitch, it's like, grow up. I saw a couple of videos yesterday And it made me have to do this video. And I didn't plan to do this video at all. But I just couldn't believe the immaturity. The amount of comments, it wasn't just one, it was a good few. It keeps coming up saying grass or snitch, grass, snitch. Some mostly teenagers, you know, the youth. They're the ones that have grown up in this sort of, them sort of environments. They think gang life's great. And it's just, I always say this, people are only loyal as long as it serves them. So you could be part of a group, you think, you know what, we're in this together, we'll do all this shit. As soon as one of them gets caught and they get told, right, you're going to get a long sentence for this. But if you tell us who's involved, we can go lenient on you. If this is the thing with people, yeah, the people are self-serving. People might not want to hear it, but this is what the average person's like. Now, some people, they have a higher moral compass, I guess. They have the respect important to them. But you have to ask yourself, how respectful is the other person towards you, though? So let's say you're in this situation. You've got arrested. You're going to be in jail for a long time. That's your freedom taken away from you. You don't know how safe it is behind bars. You don't know where they're going to take you. So you get told, you know what, we can go lenient on you if you give us other people's names. If they think for a moment the other people involved will find out that person's told on them, that they're going to go, no, it's not worth it, because their life's at risk, potentially, yeah? But if they think I've got anonymity, no one will know. How many people do you think are going to keep their mouth shut when they can save themselves? And that's why you see people get turned over all the time, you know? So you find out all of a sudden one person gets arrested, then it's like dominoes. How is it like dominoes? Connect the dots. People are talking to save their ass. They've already been caught. They got what they don't have their freedom anymore. The other people do, and they think they'll protect my freedom. They'll protect my freedom because we win it together. They've lost their freedom now. They don't care about your freedom anymore. It's self-preservation. So when you think about like gang life and the crime networks and the way people are together, it's all self-serving. So while everything's going well and it looks like you're top of the world and you're invincible, yeah, it might seem exciting, and win it together. But people will soon turn on each other as soon as their freedom is challenged. So I'm just saying. It's like, even in that environment, you're not safe from anything. It's just people lie to your face. You see that a lot of the time with the gangsters. We hear about that back in the day, the mobsters and things. They'd be your best friends to your face. And then they'll end you within a moment. You wouldn't even see it coming. And that's what crime life's like. It's just stupid. You can't trust anyone. So what's the point of living like that? What's the point of destroying neighborhoods, communities, and people's lives? I don't see the benefit to that. Just so someone can have a quick buck. You can feel powerful. Do you prey on the weak, or you prey on the wealthy? You know, it doesn't. None of it makes sense. I say that a lot. If you're just trying to acquire wealth, money all the time, status, when does it end? When does it end? Like, even if you could buy, I keep going on about this, but if you was to be given money, how much money is enough? Let's say you've got £20,000. Is that enough? Or you say, oh, well, that goes too quick. We need more. Now you got 100 grand. Now you got 500,000. Now you got 1 million. Now you got 20 million. What number's good? Or do you just keep chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing because you've got nothing else in your life that's healthy? The only healthy thing you've got is this perceived health that's not a healthy connection to people who sort of their only morals is negative. The only moral compass you have together is that we're in it together, but we're destroying the community, destroying lives, and we don't value anything other than our friendship and our bond. What's that? That's nonsense, because you haven't even found a healthy way to live. Why can't people just get on and just accept their circumstance and then strive towards improving their life in a positive way and it's sustainable, rather than do it at the expense of someone else and destroying communities? I don't get it. So, yeah, I mean, look, it's ridiculous. The idea that someone does something good and then they're marginalized or attacked for it just because they're trying to help the community. Think about it this way, for every criminal act, there's a victim. So why support the criminal when the victim deserves our support? It doesn't make sense to me. So you protect this person because you're scared of the repercussions. Meanwhile, this victim has to suffer and they don't get any justice. It makes no sense. Stop glamorizing assholes. That's the point, isn't it? People who don't do anything with their lives. They take the easy way out. They just try and destroy anything they can just to get something quick. Actually, how can you applaud that shit? It's ridiculous. Build yourself up in the right way, Challenge yourself to freaking do better. Anyway, yeah. But anyway, anyone that does any criminal history, they don't really have my respect. You know, I understand people can have redemption, you can change your life around, but you still have to take accountability for the life you've had up until that point and recognize people have suffered for your gains, you know. But anyway, so I wasn't going to show a video because I just thought, is it worth it? But I think we have to show the repercussions of this. Like, what are the alternatives? Do you want a life, do you want a world, society, where you're terrified just to exist within it, where it's never safe because you've accepted that the status quo is normal? Or do you want a world where you're peaceful, you can exist, you can have experiences? You know, people shouldn't have to be scared to go out at night. People should be able to just wander around anytime. And if you encounter someone, it's peaceful. I mean, what a nice world that would be. But it's naive as shit, isn't it? Because it's so freaking bad, the world, you know? But unless we make a change and make a stand against it, that's all we're ever going to know. And you're going to see the extent of this now to a degree. I've only got a couple of videos, both in the UK, but it's just ridiculous, the amount of people that don't learn, especially with knife crime. It's like, it's such a weak way to try to harm someone, you know? It's like you do it with someone else who's defenseless. That makes you tough. It's the same way in like America where someone's got a gun. They're a bit impulsive. They've got a gun. They think I'm the tough guy. I've got a gun in my hand. Yeah, but how tough are you when someone else has got a gun in their hand? It's the same thing. You always have to go more. Oh, now I've got a freaking machine gun. Oh, you always have to have the more powerful one because you're terrified without it. That's the thing, isn't it? They have to have something more powerful to feel strong. And then they're all cocky. And it's like, well, because you have more than the other person. Make it a fair fight. Just stupid people, you know? So the people that are running around with these knives, these swords and things, it's like, oh, that's how freaking juvenile is that? It makes no sense. Think about it back in the old days. If you was doing a medieval, at least back in the old days, I think they only probably lived in their 20s. It was like medieval. You had swords, they were knights, you had all the armor, and they had battles to the death. Now, crazy to me. Why would you why would you waste your life and risk one of you dying for entertainment, for sport, or for gladiatorial status? To say I'm bigger, I'm tougher than you. Who gives a shit about being tougher? What does it actually mean? So when I see people fighting all the time, I just think, for what though? It embraces your ego? Like, for what purpose? Who gives a shit? If someone says I'm tougher than, like, if someone said they're tougher than me, I couldn't give a shit. All right, you're tougher. Well done. Give yourself a pat on the back. Wowee. The difference is they give a shit about it, I don't. And I think that's the thing. People have got all their ambitions in the wrong place. So they think this is important, this is important. The things they think are important are so trivial, it's shit. I kid you not. I don't want to go on a huge tangent here, but I've been getting so fed up with social media. I'm like, that's boring, that's shit, that's boring. Don't want to listen to this crap. Don't want to do that. I mean, I'm sure a lot of my stuff's boring too, because the world's shit. It really is a lot of the time. And I'm sick and tired of it, personally. So I'm like, I don't want to can't listen to that crap, can't listen to that crap. These people are idiots. Look at the state of this. It's just, this is the world we're part of. And we're going to cheer it on? You see so many influencers, they're just desperate for attention. I'm like, this guy's a prat. I know most of them in the UK by name because I've seen the content. And so even if any of them ever approach me to try and get clout or anything in the future, and think I don't know their background, their story. I know their background, their story. I don't like any of them. Any of them. I don't like the attention-seeking shit they do. It drives me crazy. It's just sad and pathetic. It's just they all create this persona, and then other people jump on the bandwagon for good and bad. Some people will share it just for the attention it gives them as well. So it just keeps building it up, and it's like, is this the world we're part of? It's crazy to me. So when people say grass snitch and all this shit, it's like, grow the fuck up. God damn. So anyway, see, I don't respect idiots. That's the thing. So it says, look what we found in Croydon. So this is South London. Yeah, 1 minute long. We'll just play it. See if we can make any sense out of what's going on. What I will say is it's the deal with a knife. But when I say a knife, it's more of like a machete, a blade.
You need to make sure you tell them that you touched it.
Yeah, I will do.
So you can see like plain clothes cops arresting a guy who's pretty much crying to himself on the floor at this point. But, you know, some people feel sorry for people like that. Think, what got him there? Let's figure out what got him there, shall we? You don't just get arrested for nothing.
Shall I go and show them where? I'll show you where it was.
So we'll go through some of the comments here. Shall we have a little look? Take this down. This is where people are pathetic, in my opinion. And they think they're all big and cool because they're part of the problem, you know. So you got this guy They've obviously intervened and helped the police capture this guy. But then what would have happened if this guy was just running riot? How many people is he going to attack with this knife or whatever it is next time, you know, or when he gets around the corner? So you're saving lives. So you're actually a hero. In my book, that's a hero. You've just saved God knows how many lives. We see it in the news all the time. This person's died from knife crime. This person's died with this. This guy went on a spree and killed random people in the street. That's the alternative. If you don't intervene, there's going to be innocent victims at any moment. And then people think, oh, you shouldn't get involved. So people should lose their life because you want to protect a dipshit. So I'm sick of this world, man, because my biggest fear all the time is the next generation. It's not the idiots now. Some of them will learn, some of them won't learn. But it's the next generation. Every generation, there's so many of them. So if the next generation are impressionable and they have role models and idols who are, like I said, these influencers, they're not good influencers at all. It's not good influence on your life. The next generation are going to be attention seekers, anything for popularity and all this shit. And they're going to have no respect and common decency for other people, let alone value their own life, because this is the role models they attach themselves to. So my biggest fear is that's what comes next. So that's why I talk up on topics. And people might not like me for it. And they might think, oh, look at you. I couldn't give a shit. If I have to be the only voice talking on something, I'll be the only voice talking on it. And I'll always give my own personal opinion on shit. And I couldn't give a shit what people think about me after that. Because I won't be part of the problem. So I'm not having this shit. You won't see me quiet on topics like this. I fully support the people who are calling these people out and getting them arrested. Bet your ass on that. So you are protecting the city, is that correct? I haven't seen this. They are Batman and the gang, yes. It's the Justice League. And then you get someone else, Little Grass. You're like, are you serious? Good thing is a lot of people are calling them out now. So it used to be not long ago, someone would say that and others would agree. Yeah, Little Grass. And you go, oh, you are so stupid. But thankfully, people do call them out now because they're realizing how bad it's getting. This is not sustainable. And it's not a good quality of life for anyone, is it? And so someone's put act your age. Don't worry, the boys will ask for your hand in marriage one day. It's good that people are coming back at it. Bro had a machete on him. You're moist if you carry a machete. Little boy who rides a little brum brum. I bet you think you're such a gangster. Absolute false. So good. I like the fact that people are calling people out though, but you're still getting waves and waves of the idiots, which is alarming, you know? So it's the next wave of criminals, if you like, would-be gangsters. Idiot laughing fucking arse off, grow up mug. So we don't have to keep going through. We've seen people at them. And that's good. But you think, okay, so that one might learn a lesson. And then you get more of them, you know. But anyway, so this one put you saved a life. Grassed. I mean, what a sad... I was so close to commenting on people. I thought I'd do a video instead. These people are stupid. Shut up, lad. We don't need or want stupid kids running around with weapons. Exactly. One of the things I get fed up in the UK is it's so pathetic. I don't even know why they do it. They call the police feds. Feds. Like, what are you talking about? It's just so stupid to me. It's like everybody wants to be a gangster. Everyone wants to be cool. Everyone, you know, feds doesn't... that would never correlate in my head to make sense. I know what they're saying. Feds is cop because in America you have the feds. But the feds in America is only the FBI. The feds is not the cops. It's not the state troopers. It's not the local police force. I see, the thing is, there's so many people who don't even understand the echelon and the ranking system in law enforcement. I'm not even American, I understand it. CIA is Central Intelligence, so they're going to be the ones who, they do all the grunt work, for instance. You're going to find out if there's going to be a terrorist attack and all those different things. They'll be all of that. They'll be infiltrating, for instance, you know. And then FBI will be doing all the higher level crime, if you like. So it'd be fraudulent acts, it'd be serial killers and all that shit. So they'll go deep diving into different things, so they can go beyond the state borders. So a lot of the problems are with local law enforcement in America is they're bound by their state. In the same way in the UK we have our own counties, the police force would have to try and liaise. In America they have different law enforcement that can go beyond that. You know, so it goes deeper, they have more resources, higher powers, if you like. So we don't have that so much in the UK. So our police are police. They're not cops, they're police. We call them police, you know? So I don't understand this fascination with trying to Americanize everything. So calling them feds, I think I just think it's sad. It's like, why do we always try and seem cool? They always say that, you know, they always put it down a bad thing. Oh, the feds are coming. It's like, it's the police, you div. It's the police. Yeah. We don't, where have we got a federal law enforcement? Get it out. You know, it's just so thick. They watch too much American freaking TV shows and shit. Anyway, just say how stupid they are. Please, blow, please. That going to be you anytime soon. I don't get it. Don't understand it. I don't understand what he's talking about. What did he even do? I'm not going to. It's obvious. You just watch the video. Look at this one. I need to move out of Croydon. Daily, we live in fear. Each day, my children go out. How's that a good life? Like, how is that reasonable for anyone? Why can't people just be safe? I see this all the time with this idea, and I think it happens in other countries too, where there's like area codes where it's not safe to go, and that's where the gangs have claimed their space. It's like, you don't get to claim a neighborhood and say this is mine, and no one's free to just traverse. The world's free for all of us. For me, that's mental. It really is. So that someone's put move out of London altogether, best decision of my life. It's a lot more freeing, less stressful, especially if you move to town like I have. I've moved to Kent. Is it really that bad in the UK now? I mean, it's bad anywhere you go. You know, if you go in the wrong places at the wrong times and all this shit. And someone's put grass. Someone's put you're 12. Again, they think they're so cool when they cry it out. He was carrying a machete in capitals. Someone's put find God. Nice. You rather them leave him and could have killed someone. And shut up, go back to bed. Again, get a grip, lad. So I like the fact that when someone does call something out as grass, other people do jump and say, look, this was funny. What does grass mean? Because obviously it's snitch, but that's what someone's had to put snitch, and someone's put in England to someone, grass is to call them a snitch, but in other places it means weed. Thank you. This potentially saved a life. Grass again. Someone's put he's carrying a machete. I think they were copy and pasted the machete part because it looks exactly the same as before. And this one's in reply to the guy who said grass. It's okay to be gay, Jimmy. Not everyone has such a big spark like you. We believe in you. Have some self-confidence. So it's nice that people are coming to the foray, really, and saying, this is great. Body is shaking, watch the video. See, I think people are just fed up living in fear. This is not a community most people want to be a part of. And it's something that needs to change. And I think it will do, personally, because it's not going to be... When things are glamorized, that's when people are attracted to it. You de-glamorize something, they move away from that lifestyle. Same way, we don't really get people smoking cigarettes anymore. Most people are... It's interesting how everything shifts. So you've got people that used to smoke cigarettes all the time, always go to the pub. They're just destroying their body, really. And it's just this little superficial gains to give themselves some sort of like spark of something in their life, you know? So really it's a detachment from reality. But instead, people are starting to invest in themselves more. They're not going to the pub so much. They're not drinking alcohol as much. Of course, there's still groups of people doing it, but it's less now. It's been reported. But a lot of people are now taking more care of their health and things. They're going to the gym and they're just looking after themselves that little bit more. You know, so it's a complete shift. And I didn't think that in my lifetime that would happen personally, because it was so ingrained in people to be smoking. And as like I said, used to watch the next generation copying and mimicking, thinking they're cool outside school, you know. You just thought, you're not cool, you just look stupid because you're just impressionable. When you just follow the crowd, that's impressionable. That's weakness. And that's the thing people just don't realise a lot of the time. That I've never been like that. I always beat to my own drum, always do my own thing. I really don't care if it makes me look different to everybody else, if anybody wants to laugh and all that shit. I've never cared because I'm confident in who I am. So I don't need other people to praise, support and respect me because I already have all that in me. But the weak people do. And then they think they're strong because they've got a group. But no, because you need that group to feel powerful, to be strong and confident. So that actually shows you have weakness. Because on your own, you're vulnerable. You don't know who you are. You have no identity. That's really where a lot of it comes from. So it's nice to see other people maybe start embracing themselves more and investing in creating their own confidence and their self-belief and things. You know, so it's a really nice. So we have seen the shift. And I'd like to think we're going to start shifting at some point away from all this crap. People start investing in themselves. But like I've said so many times, it comes down to community. People calling things out. But I also think we need more places for people to go and be able to interact with each other so they learn to respect one another. When we keep getting divided and isolated to a degree, it obliterates community, doesn't it? And then, of course, then it can easily create resentment and then a lack of respect for one another. So that's really where the problem is. I mean, if communities come together, I think then obviously people have that common decency, respect, values, and you can actually understand other people's lifestyles, beliefs, and all those things. But it shouldn't be we spend our life ridiculing one or another and attacking and vilifying and segregating and you know, doing things that just create such a negative outlook. But anyway, so yeah, I think the idea that people say someone's a grass for doing the right thing, I think it's just crazy. But there's another video now. I've only got two. This one, I mean, we haven't done it. Let's finish it out, actually.
I have touched that handle to move it myself.
It's quite a big sword/knife, isn't it? Machete. How much damage that's going to do to some human flesh?
So he's legged out of the town centre. We've presumed he's robbed somebody. Right. We've chased him. He's then legged it, proper legged it. I'm on the bike. I've been very close to him. He's come around this corner. Something metal's dropped. We've then detained him by the car. Okay. He's to give us some sob story that he got robbed and it's nothing to do with him.
Possibly a knife point robbery you complete.
I thought that was his mobile phone.
From North End London Road directly down south. That's the route of travel for the suspect. He's been running and then being detained.
He came out the high street and down here. When I heard that drop, I thought it was a mobile phone. So we came back to check what it was, and it was that. But that will be on my body camera of him.
So he's come from the high street direction onto Church Street and been detained on Pretty's Yard. I don't know if anything else happened further up that way.
Who needs something like that in this world anyway? That's ridiculous. When I look at that straight away, I'm just thinking of think about back in the day where people had swords and freaking shields. If someone's got that, then you should have a shield, and then the other person should have that and a shield and go at it. And it's like, are we really living in those days now? Do we really need to live like that? You know, it's always people preying on the weak. So they have all these weapons where they know full well someone's vulnerable. They have nothing to hit them back with. As soon as you've got something similar size or bigger, they would shit themselves. It's all right for them to swing it knowing you can't do anything back. But if you swing it back at them, they're going to scared shitless for their life, aren't they? Unless, of course, they don't value their life because some people just have nothing going for them. And again, that's something to work on. I don't want to ridicule, but they've got to find some freaking light in their life, you know? Now, you hear there, they were doing it potentially because they were robbing someone. Why are we robbing people? Why can't we earn something and do it the hard way? Like I always talk about my life. It's really hard. Financially, it's like destitute sometimes, you know? It's been really hard past few months. But I just get on with it, you know? I don't go just freaking harassing people or taking money off them. I just take the hits. I've struggled for food like crazy over the past couple of months. It's just my life and where I'm at the moment. It's just, and I take it, you know? You don't see me gallivanting around the streets trying to attack people or take what someone's earned. I've got too much respect for myself and for other people. That's not mine to take. So it's morals. I don't even beg online. I don't say if anyone wants to do this, I don't do none of that shit. I just take the hits and get on with my life, realizing that I'm building towards my future. And my situation right now is a consequence of my actions. And I get it. And I take risks to build something better in my life. But this is what people, you know, the idea that you take the easy way out, I think it's the most weakest, it's just weak. So there's no excuse for that shit. Even if someone says I'm hungry, I'm fucking hungry. I'm having to skip, I'll just tell you, I'm not even looking for sympathy. I have to skip breakfast and lunch at the moment. All I get is dinner. And even then, it's just whatever I've got. I've barely got anything. I'm just getting through the month. Fortunately, we're really close to the end. I'm surprised I made it this far. But that's how it's been for me. So if anyone ever says I'm hungry, oh, mate, I'm hungry. I had to make one shop last the whole month. And that wasn't even a very expensive shop. I don't even know how I got through this month. So there's never an excuse to justify this shit. I don't care. Oh, I need this, I need that. We all need something, mate. Do something about it. You know, with me, there's extenuating circumstances. Like I've got my daughter soon, so I'm trying to be available for her. So there's risks, but I'm not saying that to try to get people to go, oh, no. There's a reason I'm struggling right now, and I understand, and it's my own fault. If I didn't prioritize her, I could jump into situations, and my circumstance would turn around quicker. But she's my priority. So I will suffer at my end for me to be available to spend time with her. And I don't take off other people to do so. And I mean, that's the thing. People are too quick to do. So any reason to rob someone, I think is always pathetic. And again, it comes around to that question, what are you doing it for? And how much is enough? If it's to satisfy a drug habit or something, or an addiction or something, you get it cured. That's not sustainable. If you're going to rob people, for instance, especially for things like that, when do you think time's going to run out? Either you're going to rob the wrong person and you're going to get hurt, or you're going to get caught eventually anyway, because a pattern repeats itself, isn't it? People are creatures of habits. Even if you rob someone and you made like a massive windfall, the people act they can't help themselves. They have to do it again because they think they get away with it until the day you don't. And then it all catches up with you, and then they get a whole massive rap sheet and they go, right, we've arrested you for this, but we believe you are attached to this crime, this crime, this crime, this crime, and this crime. Now you're fucked. So it's just, you don't know how long someone's watching you for, you know? So anyway, it all comes back on people. But it's about accountability of our life. You know, I don't look for sympathy of my life in any way. I don't ask for that. I just share it for experience to show people how I get through things, the stages I'm at, just so they understand the complete journey. Yeah, sometimes my life's easier. Sometimes it's harder. Sometimes it's downright brutal. But, you know, it goes in waves. You can't go through life just expecting everything to be handed to you and everything to go beautifully. There's going to be times when you have to really dig in deep. But trying to ruin someone else's life just because you're miserable or frustrated is not an excuse. So anyway, the idea that people with grass is snitch, I think is ridiculous, because I think it's up to us to transform this world to actually make it peaceful and one in which we could all survive and thrive in, you know? So yeah, you won't ever see me supporting crime. You won't ever see me, you know, keeping my mouth shut if there's a way I can help. If I can help support or save an innocent person, I'm going to call out a criminal. And I really don't give a shit how they think of it or the consequence. Life's too short. I'll always do things for the right reason, whether it makes my life shorter or not as a consequence. I don't care. Whether we live, I always say it, whether we live to 80 years old or whether we live to 40, I don't think it matters, does it? Does it matter really? I think as long as you go naturally or you do it or you go the right way, I think that's the better way of doing it, isn't it? So I'm not someone who's self-preserving. I don't get involved in things that are not necessarily my problem. But if I was ever asked, if I saw something and a police officer come up to me and ask me, oh, did you see anything? Yeah, this is what I saw. If you think for a moment, I'm going to go, oh, it's not my business, I don't want to get hurt. No, I'll tell them if they ask me, I'm telling them what I saw. Don't be a dipshit. Don't be put in a situation where you are on the other side of that, and then you won't be going to jail, will you? You live and die by the things you do, and if you're going to be a dipshit in your life, you're going to get caught eventually. So, and you never know who's seen what either. You might think, oh, no one saw anything. Could be someone looking out their window. Could be someone driving past. Could be someone anywhere and anything. Could be a camera just looking. So the idea that you think people are not going to say anything because no one will. Like, oh, plenty of people will. Because we don't want people like that in our communities. Anyway, actually, I was going to run off for that. Let's quickly go. I was going to leave it there, but I just think, let's get this other video quick. So one's in Manchester now, Piccadilly Gardens. I've actually been around that area, and it is a proper shithole, to be totally honest. It's full of druggies and just people who just act like a nuisance, and they just think they're all hard and cool, and it's not a safe area at all. It really isn't. And, you know, the idea they'll just run around. I mean, police might as well just keep searching everybody in that area and just keep taking things away. It's unreal. So this kid looks young enough, and he's got a knife on him. Why are you running around with knives? He's got a smirk on his face at the minute, so he thinks he's cool.
Yes, officer, you okay?
He's trying to see if it's his phone, make sure he ain't nicked it.
What happened is, man?
Could you just go grab it for me, mate? Can you hold on to it?
Okay. Huh? No, I don't smoke, bro. And knife, guys.
See, what's good there, it looks like it's innocent or bystanders or whether someone's involved, but it looks like as a member of the public walked that police officer to the location where the knife was. So people are speaking up here. So you think, oh, that's a grass. You can think people are grasses and you can sort of attack people for doing the right thing. But then people don't give a shit. They'll do it time and time again. If it's not that person, it'll be someone else. So the idea you try and threaten people and intimidate them by saying grasses and that, because that's really what people are doing. Trying to silence people so then they can run riot. Not everybody backs down with that shit, and you never know what person's going to stand up. So you might have like a load of people that go, I'm not getting involved, I'm not getting involved, I'm not getting involved. Someone else goes, yeah, there it is. You can't intimidate everyone. Some people don't care about crime rules, you know what I mean? All that shit. Nah, that's not a way to live. It's like have some respect for people. Like I say, you can live your life trying to get to old age and try and get to as long as you want by self-preservation. But what was the meaning of your life? When you think about life in general, what was it about? Was it just about keep repeating the same day like Groundhog Day? You wake up, do the same thing repeatedly, just so you can preserve life? Or is it about experiences and doing the right thing and having a positive impact on the world? Because there's going to be a day when we're not here. So you could have had, everybody has the chance to have an impact on your life and other people's. And, you know, how long you're here, I think is irrelevant to a degree, to be totally honest. I think it's about having the impact, because it's all about evolution. If you think about it, evolution, everybody's going to die. Everybody's born. Everybody's going to die. Everybody's born. But if we don't make the right decisions in this lifetime, the next generation will be influenced by those decisions. So let's say everybody keeps quiet, they're scared of their own shadow, they allow people to intimidate them, and it's mob rule. What do you think is going to happen for the next generation? Now, you could argue it's not my problem. I think it is. Because all of us are duty bound to leave this life better than we started it. That's evolution. We're all playing our part. Whether you give a shit or not, you're still playing your part. And that's ultimately what we're here for. So you might argue, no, I'm here to do this, I'm here to that. I'm not here to do anything. Okay. You're just like randomly going rogue. That's fine if you just think that your life matters that much in that sense. But I actually think there's a lot of accountability to the next generation. And I think, the foundation that's been set in this period was set by the previous generations. And we can either progress or we can regress. And I would like to think that a lot of us are going to do the right things. And then the next generation at least have a hope and a chance to have a better life than we had. And I know some people might think, well, it's not fair. I didn't have that. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Be part of change, positive change. And that's what I want. I want positive change. I think the next generation of children should be able to go out, have fun, and not have to worry about violence and crime, especially at the expense of weapons. You shouldn't have to worry about your own safety and things. I'd like to think that in the future generations, people can live like that, And it seems like a fantasy now, but why should it be a fantasy? This has to stop.
Bro, what you doing? Nice. Swear. You find it there on the floor.
You see how people cheer when people get away as well, though? They always think it's jokes. It's not my knife, it's not my knife. Yeah, he did a smirk. I noticed the smirk when he said it's not mine. I'm quite good at body language and people. I pick up shit straight away. I'm watching this just like everybody else is, but I see his smirk after he said it's not mine twice, I think it was. And he smirked. Now. He went to smile. And then they cheer him. Jokes. So don't worry, you're going to get another knife. And what's he going to do with that? Do you think he just jumps around and plays knives and just hits apples with it? Ridiculous. And you cheer him on like they're freaking some celebrity and star or something. It's just entertainment. Idiots.
Get on there, officer.
How's he supposed to find him? Oh, he's got him. Now he's going to be in more trouble now for evading arrest.
Come on. We're getting up.
That's going to be on so tight now.
He's completely fine. Right. Come on. Up. Why are we running again? Huh?
If you're innocent, you don't run.
Come on.
Now who's cheering?
Listen in on. Because you're running away. Get your...
Why would you cheer that on? I don't get it. That's just me, though. I'm not into this shit. Anyway. Everybody has to ask themselves individually, what world do you want to be a part of and what are you going to do to help create that world? We can't cast a wand and just make change like that. We have to speak up. We have to take action. You have to do things, whether for good or bad. It's up to you to pick the path you're on, And if I see things that are wrong in this world, I'll talk about it, whether it's things like this or other things. sometimes even I get tired of talking about it. I just think this world is so shit sometimes, you know. But it's like, I'm responsible, though, to have an impact as well, though, in the same way everybody else is. So we all have the opportunity to express our opinion, don't we? This is my opinion on the world. This is what I don't like. This is how I think things could improve. I think, you know, and it's important that we speak on that. Or you can hide in the shadows, of course, and maybe you do, maybe manage to get through life and maybe get to old age, like I said. But then other things can happen to you, you know. Even by saying nothing, you might be a victim of one of these crimes one day. Or you might get hit by a car. I mean, I know we say that a lot and it just seems far-fetched. But it happens. Accidents happen. Sometimes revenge things happen. Sometimes, I think the idea, I always think it's very naive to think you'll get to 80. Like, if you get to 80, you're fortunate in a way, but hopefully you've had good experiences, though. You didn't just do it in a self-preserving way where nothing happened in your whole life. You know, you played it safe, you had no experiences. It's just, there's nothing. You just did nothing with your time. It's like, again, it's up to people what they do. I'm not saying put yourselves in harm's way. It's just look at your life and think, what do you want to accomplish with it, though? Do you want it to stand for something or not? I mean, a lot of people want to be remembered. I always think that's a bit crazy. Like, what difference does it matter? If you think about it this way, it's not about being remembered. It's about doing things for the right reason, you know, from a pure place. If you're doing it to be remembered, it's very unlikely. Even the worst of people will be forgotten because there's even worse people that come after them. And if you get the best way to put it in is, if you think 100 years ago, how many people do you know from the 1800s, for instance? People go, I don't know anyone. Well, of course you don't. Look, how many people do you, if you think in 100, 200 years, people are going to know you? They're not. There won't be one or two people on the planet right now that will be known in 200 years. Perhaps out of the whole, all the people. So the idea you live your life thinking, oh, I'm going to do this. Even if you do a bad act, you still won't be remembered. There's too many memories are going to get created. So then you've got to ask yourself, what do you want for your life? Is it to go to a 9-to-5 job and just create some stability? I want a nice house and all those things. That's great, but that'll only last so long and then it gets taken away from you one day anyway. For me, it's all about the next generation. So I get frustrated in my life. Believe me, I get really fed up sometimes. It seems like so many things are unfair. But then I just think, well, maybe my life is one of suffering. Maybe it's one of obstacles and challenges. But I'm not going to be here forever anyway. So I could put off doing things and saying things and trying to have a positive impact. But then that's just me being petulant with my circumstance and fed up sometimes, you know. But if there's a chance I could have helped do something for the next generation, that's what drives me on. So like, even sometimes I think I'm not going to do any more content. I've had enough for a bit. But then things happen and I'm thinking it's my responsibility, though, to talk on things. Even if it helps just one person, you know. It's like, if it helps one person, just me stepping up and speaking on something, then it's important I should. It's not a big deal for me. Like, I take an hour of my day or I take this and that. Even though I think, you know, no one's listening. But it's like, maybe one day they will, maybe one day they won't. But it's just took me an hour. But I think that's the thing. You know, we've got to ask ourselves the life we want, the world we want to be a part of, and what we're doing to contribute, you know.